Everybody, it's probably red. Today we're going to be going over the four and, well, the four. Okay. So it's a tier list. We're going to start with tooth extraction. It is the only four cost in the set that is a response or a tactic. Okay. So, yeah, it's not going to happen very much. But we're also going to talk about the 5/5 drops, okay? Because it would be a very short tier list if it was only this one card. But we're jumping right into it. This is, like I said, a 4-cost tactic. And what does it do? It's uncommon, by the way. I know I haven't been saying the rarities on these, but it deals 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target bosses or fighters. Okay, so that sounds amazing. And I think this works especially well with a boss like Charlotte that wants to finish stuff off, but also other cards that deal damage to multiple things. Because this can kind of be like you play an AoE kind of card, and this can kind of finish everything off that's left over. Very interesting also that you can deal it to bosses. So even if it's like, turn 4 is not really early anymore, but early to mid game, you get the ability to play this, or somehow you use like cash money, play this early. It can be a way to be a removal card that also hits the opponent, so you're getting a little bit of extra value there. All around, especially considering it's the only 4-drop, it's really, a pretty nice versatile piece of removal. 4 token cost, though, it's getting up there. It's like, twice as much as most attacks. But luckily, 5 damage is quite decent. And you could technically you could take out 5 different fighters. Very unlikely, and it wouldn't really count as a whole card unless somehow your opponents are playing 5 1 health, fighters. Even with tokens and the couple of really low health fighters, it just isn't going to happen. So I would say you can reasonably take out 2 pretty good, or at least decent cards worth of fighters with tooth extraction. So, yeah, I think it's pretty darn good. I would say that it's gonna go. I want to give it. I can't. Oh yeah, while we're here, let's go over the tiers. Okay, so we're gonna start with S tier. S tier means if the deck is capable of running it. Oh, whoopsies. Oh no, what did I do? Okay, so if the deck is capable of running it, it's going to run it. And we got a little bit of a... There we go. So that's S tier for you. And then A tier is going to be, it's enough to, change the meta or appear in the meta in a very strong way. S is more meta warping. A is more meta defining. Okay. And then B tier is there's going to be decks that run it. It's a decent, strong card. C tier is going to be maybe one deck that's got it in there, but it's not something that's really, carrying the deck. It's sort of filler, kind of like it's just there because there's no other card that can go in. Maybe it's filling a spot on the curve. D tier, these probably aren't showing up. I mean, they're okay cards. They're not awful. There's just no room for them in the meta. And of course, like D tier is going to be more prevalent once there's more cards released and the size of the format grows. Finally, we come to F tier. This is the absolute garbage, the stuff that you wouldn't want in your deck whatsoever. The only way you would be wanting to run this is to prove that it's, not an F tier card, something that's like, or you're just building a deck like the Hedron alignment, sort of, if you played Magic, where you're just trying to, like, I hate to call it a meme, But yeah, basically like you're memeing with the cards. It's surprising that you're running it. They're F tier cards. You know what I mean? Okay, so where would Tooth Extraction go? It's kind of like a mini board clear. It's pretty good. I'm gonna say it's gonna be at least A. And we're getting to the point where these are some of the highest like costs and the latest that stuff can come out that's costing you like this many tokens. So I could just be wrong. It could be to the point where like you're not running these kind of cards because you're getting fighters for free. Some of them are having very powerful effects just from being played as, sort of a time locked 0-drop with the ability to have an outlet to spend tokens via attack. Also, the cheaper stuff can be used as removal. Are you going to need that much removal? But at the same time, I feel like if that's the case, stuff like this, you're going to want your cards, like, since you're not drawing tons of cards, you want each of your cards to matter. So if you can get to the point where the game's just slow enough to where you're able to do this kind of stuff, it's going to be good to have. So I think it's A tier. I think it's going to show up. It'll be more meta-defining than it is warping. But honestly, like, even though I say that now, this would be a card that would kind of warp how people build their decks if it's prevalent. So, you want to run heavier stuff so they can't get like a 3-for-1 or something like that. Or it makes it harder to get a 2-for-1. Okay, so real quick, side tangent before we go to the videotape. I just want to say that this card, because of the existence, and it's fitting that it's the first 5-drop that we're talking about, because it compared to the last 5-drop we're talking about, it's like night and day. These are completely different cards, but they have subtle differences that just make them, it's just enough to where they're not like. And then one's in Survivor, and we'll get to the other one later, but I want to evaluate that with that in mind. So what does it do? It's survive. Oh, and by the way, the last one was a shifter card, Tooth Extraction. So go to the videotape. This is a Survivor card and Mythic. So Tactic, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of Survivor fighters and put them in your hand. Okay. And then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So you're going 4 cards deep and drawing any of them. So up to 4 cards. If you do, you're getting a 3 for the cost of 1 card. You'd have to go pretty heavy Survivor fighter. And there's decks like bosses that warrant doing that want you to be like having that as a thing. And then maybe in conjunction, but also possibly in like absence of using their tap ability. We probably should get some specific examples. I'm thinking, we'll go back to that in a second. I'm thinking Blades and Sky specifically. So let's go ahead and pop those up here and just kind of talk about the context. So Sky, you get to reveal the cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a fighter. So this can reveal multiple fighters. This can only, reveal one. And then also once he gains, even before he gains agility, you're probably going to be wanting to attack with him, especially when he reduces his attack cost a lot and is getting that nice, decent attack in. But until then, you're going to want to build your board, especially until you get to the point where you can go to the videotape. And quick side note before we talk about Blades, this just might be a card you want to play in a Survivor fighter heavy deck that doesn't have access to these bosses. Just, food for thought there. And then Blades, she has 4 tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You can reveal up to 2 fighters and put them into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So it's getting closer to the cost to go to the videotape. Would you want to dilute your deck of Survivor fighters in order to play a card that's doing a similar thing to your boss? Maybe the difference in effect is enough And the fact that it can be a 4 or, well, a 3 for 1 since it's costing you this card if you are lucky. So if you're running 3 of these, it increases your chances to whiff. Also, it reduces the number of tactics you can run. It kind of builds your deck in that way. But if you run 1 copy as kind of like a silver bullet, the only thing it's affecting is your boss's ability to find other survivors. So, I mean, it's interesting. And we'll bring it back up when we talk about the last card, but let's start out, go to the videotape on, let's have it, 1 second. Okay, I don't know why I put it on this, sorry. But, yeah. So I'm going to put, we're going to put it in B tier. Go to the videotapes, going in B tier. And it might just be better than that. Like, it just depends. It's a strong effect, but just by comparison, it's kind of hard to determine. Because, I mean, like, maybe in Survivors it's so good. And maybe specifically with bosses that don't have that ability. Maybe, like, Monsoor Mayhem just needs this kind of effect to make a strong Survivor deck. Or maybe just a multitude of those effects. When you get to the point where you can do their ability and play a 5 token cost, you're like not worried about attacking, you're worried about flooding the board with like enforcer fighters, but you have to have a lot of survivors that have that. So next, let's talk about Derail. Okay, so sort of the opposite side of this, another mythic. This is a shifter card though, tactic, and it just says simply destroy all fighters. Okay, so only bosses are left. So in a deck that's centralized around the boss, you know, and having those few types of enhancements that you can use on bosses, or having the boss gain some advantage over time, like Charlotte, for example, it just seems like this kind of card would be better. Or if you're just playing like a control strategy, maybe a weapon-centric deck where you're filling the board with weapons just so you can get out like 1 card. Maybe you already have it in hand, 1 fighter, then play that. Yeah. So a very interesting card. And it's, you know, there's cards that deal massive amounts of damage. This just doesn't matter how much health or armor or whatever they have, how fortified their synths are, you know, how much they block. Well, you can't block direct damage. You can only block attacks, but you know what I mean? This just wipes the board of everything. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be an S tier. It's just kind of an emergency button. That even if you just get a 2 for 1 with it, and of course that's also including the fact, 1, that, you know, you spent 5 of your tokens to destroy maybe 0 tokens worth of fighters, and also you're destroying your own fighters, so those are additional cards you have to consider. So if you destroy 3 of your own, you spent 4 cards, Derail, and the 3 fighters you lost, hopefully at lower health. And then you'd have to destroy like at least at that point 6 of their fighters, or 6 fighters total if you're playing against multiple opponents, but that's its own bag of worms or whatever. But yeah, I think it's easily an S tier. I can say that with confidence. Just and this artwork is awful, just gruesome, brutal. It's very well done. It's just it's really messed up. Anyways, next, Flipping Out. Okay, interesting. Jumping to a very different card here. 5 cost. Well, I say different, but also very similar. So it's a 5 cost shifter tactic, and Flipping Out deals 4 damage to up to 2 different target bosses or fighters. Okay, I think Derail is a lot stronger than this, but this can win you the game. Not that Derail can't, but it can just, by playing it, you know, take out your opponent's boss. Similar to Tooth Extraction, this card spreads damage around in a way that can get you a removal piece that deals damage to your opponent, like your boss, your opponent's boss. Or it can be a 2-for-1 pretty easily. In fact, more easily, except you're paying an extra token than Tooth Extraction, because that would be like a 3 and a 2. This is a 4 and a 4 to fighters. So with that in mind, I think it's on par with Tooth Extraction. I'm gonna say it's a little bit better, even though it costs more, just because it's a little bit more oomph, and you can't really spread it around as much, so it's not like a whole tier up. But I think it's a little bit better than Tooth Extraction. If we're playing 5 costs, this could be seen, but I don't think it's anywhere near Derail, and that's same with Tooth Extraction, even though it's once again costs less. Okay, now we're on roll call. I really like roll call. And I don't think I've been saying the rarities. I haven't been saying rarities the whole set of tier lists, but this is a rare. And it's a tactic from the Mystic faction, 5 cost. So you get to choose. You can distribute up to 5 +1 attack counters among fighters on your team, or you can draw a card for each fighter with a counter on your team. Okay, so the first side of this effect, it's pretty good. It's okay. It can really make for some strong attacks, especially if you have enough 0, attack cost fighters or 1 attack cost fighters. It can really improve your board. It can make you deal 5 damage every single turn. Yeah, and you could just put them all on a 0 token attack cost that's behind enforcers and blockers. Maybe it's something that has a lot of health and maybe even armor. So even if they use direct damage, you could just pump one thing up. But what it kind of wants you to do, especially if you have a bunch of copies of it, all 3, and you have like one after the other, you want to spread it around. So 1, they're not targeting something and just taking out all the power of roll call. So by the time you play roll call again, you'll have a bunch of stuff that you can draw off of. But man, if you have synergy with this, person, Anyways, I just like oh darn, oh dang, here we go. Excitement. Oh man. But draw a card for each fighter with a counter on it. Lord, that's amazing. That's just crazy. 5 cards, yes, maybe even more. Also, maybe less. But in that case, like if you're only drawing 2 cards, that's okay. If you just haven't gotten the time to play +1 attack counters on your team, play the other side. Hopefully you have a bunch of fighters ready to do this. But I mean, if you're playing a bunch of Phantasmal cards, you could just run this as a huge draw spell. Now, it does cost 5 tokens, but being able to draw such a large amount of cards seems amazing. With that in mind, there's just not a lot of card draw out there, especially some that can draw more than that. So it can be, in my opinion, probably pretty powerful. Still, it's slow and it's very kind of niche, even though it's versatile, niche and versatile. It's kind of funny. It's a choose one. Both sides are sort of specific to the scenario. Like you have to have a bunch of fighters that you want to buff up, or you want to have a bunch of buffed up cards that are going to let you draw cards to make it worth spending 5 tokens. Yeah. Also, you're spending 5 tokens. It's hopefully on some low attack cost stuff. Like, definitely want some 0 attack cost stuff. This gets better late game when you can also attack with the stuff you just buffed up, or at least the one thing you buffed up in the case that you're going all in on one thing and hoping they don't have a destroy card. But yeah, I think roll call it's like either really high C or kind of low B for me. We'll plop it here. I know I talked it up. I think it's strong. It's gonna get ran or whatever, but I just don't think it's like super great. I think it's a little bit too niche. In fact, we're gonna be a little skittish and we'll put it in C tier, but top of C tier, Okay, so finally we have the comparison card here. Go to the videotape, boom. Give the signal. These cards are quite interestingly contrasted. Also, I guess it's not a tactics and response tier list. It's just a tactic tier list because they're all tactics. All right. Anyways, unless was that? No, I think they're all tactics. Yeah. Okay, so this is a mythic as well. So even more interesting, you got both of these at mythic. But yeah, the synth tactic here. Give the signal. So you're going to reveal the top 5 cards of your deck as opposed to 4. Let me read the whole card and then we'll do comparisons. So you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. For each synth fighter revealed, you may play it or fortify it onto any one of your non-fortified synths without paying its cost. Put the rest in the bottom of your deck in a random order. Okay. So whereas the Survivor version, go to the videotape, is 4 cards, and you look at them, you have to reveal the top 5, which is an extra card, and then the Survivor half saves you from having multiples of the same fighter by letting you put them all into your hand or making you put them all in your hand. Whereas the synth version does so by letting you fortify instead of putting them directly in play. And you're not paying any cost to play these synth fighters either way. Even if it's the same turn you go to the videotape or give the signal. Yeah. So it's just when your turn comes back around, you'll have all of these already out. That's the kicker. And the extra card. Now, you can't, I think you can order how they land. From what I understand is like you can order them all like I reveal them, and then this is the order I want them to arrive, even though they're all arriving at the same like card time. I don't know like sequencing would work in that, but I'm assuming you would use like it's not called the stack, it's the thing, the circle of order. There's the Cataclysm Arcade's version of the stack. The name escapes me. One second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I found it. It's called The Line. So, yeah. So, like, you get all of your stuff in play. I'm wondering if I'm assuming each one uses the line to process its effect. So you can set it up in the way you want. So that's not the advantage. The advantage is you can hold off even for later turns. Maybe next turn when you have your tokens, you can play them and then attack with them. So you can do this early. But just having all of these enter the battlefield effects happening so quickly at the early bit of the round, you can perhaps make that happen. And they're both specific to their faction, so there's that. So they might just both be really good. And maybe they're kind of testing the waters using both to see which one lands, if either. I assume both are going to land pretty well, especially Give the Signal. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Give the Signal isn't better. But I think Give the Signal is better. Maybe I'm overrating it. Or maybe I'm underrating Go to the Videotape. But I think overall there's a bunch of especially for the number of them that there are. Most of these, obviously the effects are going to be more powerful because they're a higher drop. Just want to note there's not going to be a 6-cost tier list. I did the rest of the tactics and responses, so that's everything. That's all of them. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. I really appreciate your time, and go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And talk to you soon.